on record.
What do you mean you didn't know? It's the first thing I go over every single day. Well, you say it every single day, so that's why I clean it out. So I'm talking to my team, repeat something. First thing I realized when I was headed on Wednesday of finals week, to go to my daughter's wedding in Los Gatos. I'm driving up Avenue 12 to get on the 99. Crap, these are the wrong glasses. I can't drive. Those are computer glasses. So they're great because I have bifocals. If I want to see the screen, I'm doing this the entire time to try to read the screen. Those, I can see this range of distance perfectly. My eyesight is so bad, I can't see. Okay, so your bud. So I'm doing this to read the screen. Every time during COVID when I was teaching online, and I had to look at the computer to read what's on the screen, I'm doing this and they've got to be looking at my nose. So the doctor told me about those. The thing is, I can't see far away because it's not that you can't, it's so fuzzy. Start to get a little bit of a headache. And I'm sitting there trying to reach in the back. Better that. So every day, today, we're going to lecture on 3, 4, and 3, 5. It's the first one. I'm about to turn 8.1 off. I'll make sure I go and turn 8.1 off. I'll show you how to do that. But 3, 4, 3, 4, 5 is combined into one assignment. That's why it's 15 problems before that. And then 3.6, the first test will reset. On Tuesday next week, we'll finish up anything with 3, 4, 3, 5. Then we'll start up 3.6. Next Thursday, we finish up whatever's left over on 3.6. At the end of class, we're taking a quiz on 3, 4, 3, 5. You are going to see at the end of the day exactly what I'm going to ask you on your quiz. What I'm going to expect from you. On Tuesday, I'm going to give you warm-ups that look exactly like your quiz questions. On Thursday the 20th, we'll start class at 8:30 with a couple of problems that are just like the quiz that we take at the end of class. This is our open note, open book, open homework, whatever you want to have open, just don't cheat off each other. You cannot use an internet device as a calculator. So no phones, no tablets, no computers, no Fitbits, no watches that connect to the internet. Just no internet connection, no cloud connection, no infrared connection to somebody. It's all possible. Back in the 90s, I had a student who had a 2-chapter calculator that could also be programmed as a remote control to turn my TV on and off in the back of the room. You could take a simple TI-84 and download all sorts of video games, Pac-Man, Defenders, Fortnite, no. But they're sitting there in the back of the room on their calculators. And I told them, I know you are not doing that when you're working your calculator with those phones like this, especially when you're under the desk. This is before cell phone. These days, you don't even need device. I mean, what do you mean you didn't have cell phone? I grew up without a microwave. When I was a kid, we had something called VCR. And we had these tapes that were this big. And you would shove it into a console about yay big that weighed about 45 pounds. And the first remote control that was in our house had a cord that attached from the VCR all. It was not infrared, it was on a cord. I had a TV growing up in my room. It was black and white. It was a black and white TV. The first car I ever bought. No air conditioning. Interesting. When I met my future wife, she said, your truck does not have air conditioning. I don't think that's big. Growing up, my cars never had air conditioning. I didn't think I needed it. You know, windows. As soon as I got air conditioning, I started losing my air. Actually, my daughter, she got my I used to have a nice set of air. She got it. Okay. So anyway, ranch is over. All right. Remember when? You guys go. 3.6, quizzes are open note. Quizzes are always open note. Remember, you cannot make quizzes up. This is 0. Got 2 of those quizzes at the end of the semester. You're also going to get a review sheet for the chapter 3 test. Review sheets are not mandatory homework. But if you want to be prepared for the test, that's how you prepare for the test. And I'll show you what that means today. Tuesday the 25th. We're going to review for the test. That's my primary focus, is to just review that day. If there's any loose ends from 3.6, we'll finish up loose ends from 3.6. But it's your day to make sure you have, make sure all your homework is complete, to make sure all of your questions get answered, because the next day, Thursday, the 27th, that is my goal, to get your first test case. Because the next day, the 28th, is the last day to drop to avoid a double. Now, you won't have your test graded from Thursday to Friday, but you've taken it and you at least have an idea of how you what happened. Remember, on tests, you don't do it. It's you, a pencil, an actual calculator, a straight edge, and I'll talk about that later. I don't allow scratch paper, and I'll explain why when I show you the test versus the execution. I'll explain why I don't do scratch paper. All right. Any questions? Now remember, holidays, the only holiday you get off the semester is spring break. However, next Monday is Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King's holiday. So if there's no school, there's no class. So here's the thing. Primarily, the way I teach is step by step, always. This. Now, I'm not going to give you all of the details in these warm-ups here, because that's part of today's lecture. But I'm going to try to simplify it as best I can for you. Now, in the homework, there's things that you can click on to get help. The homework problem actually will even connect you to videos of somebody else showing you some ways to do the problem. They will not always be the same way I will show you. If you go to the STEM Center, if you get a tutor, they may not show you the way I will be showing you. Okay, that's perfectly fine. But I'm really going to be very honest with you. What I'm going to show you, okay? Not the only way to do it. It's not the best way to do it. But as long as you show me the work and your work justifies your answer, everything is going to work out perfectly fine. The first one, all we want is switch over to the box. The equation of the line in slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. When you graph a line, you need ordered pairs. You need x's and y's. You need ordered pairs, x and y. So in the equation, you have to have the x and the y always in your equation. If you don't have an x and or a y, how do you know that it's an equation of a line or a parabola or hyperbola or whatever we're going to be working? But you have to figure out when you write the equation of line, you got to figure out what the slope is, and you got to figure out what the y-intercept is. That would be represented y-intercept. And then you just substitute, plug them in. In this problem, you are told y, the slope is negative 13. So, all we're going to do is y equals, this goes right in here, negative 13 over 50 times x, and then we have plus, and then y-intercept b. It's a negative when you substitute negative, negative 8 over 3. Now, that's not done because it's not simplified. The reason why it's not simplified is the y is fine. Negative 13 over 15, that's fine. That's reduced. That's no turn. This right here. You have two consecutive signs. That's kind of confusing. Let's make it one simple sign. So plus a negative number, if the signs are different, it's a positive or negative sign. Okay. If we add a negative, then it's just subtraction. If the signs are different, it's just a subtraction. Minus 2 over 3. That's it. That's the equation of line. Now, I showed every tiny little piece of it. Did you know what's going on? I'm trying to make sure everybody's on the same page. Because it's just, so right after equals, there's nothing right here except equals this. If I put it in parentheses, negative 13 over 15 times x is just negative 13 over 15 times x. I'm not adding it, I'm not multiplying it times anything else. So you are right. Why didn't I put it in there? Because I knew nothing was going to mess up that sign. I wasn't going to. There was nothing in front of it that I was going to add something to it or multiply something with it. It's just that coefficient was exactly negative 13. So it's not going to change. There's no chance of that negative being messed up. It's just a simple replacement. Now, if I do put it in parentheses, and if I use the parentheses, that's no big deal. But this needs multiplication anyway when you have negative 13 over 15 and then x next. Now, part of my job, and you guys are going to be probably going to know, that's kind of, psychology. That's obsessive compulsive about you. Yeah. This negative 13 over 15 x times x is exactly the same as negative 13 over negative 13 x x in the numerator. But this is what I see sometimes. Negative 13, 15 x. And just, it's written really small. So what it looks like is that the x is in the denominator 15 times the x down here. And it's not, it can't. It has to be either bigger, like it's the slope times the x, or it would be the x in the numerator. So make sure, again, spelling counts. This is the concept of spelling in mathematics. They're not the same thing. Okay, they just aren't. You can have it out here, you can put it in the numerator, but you can't have it down below. That's too confusing. I get real picky when we do exponents. This is x to the third power. X times x times x. This is x times 3. And when I see students write this on a test, I usually do this. Now I'll tell you when we get there. I'll circle it, all right, too big, and I usually take off a point. Okay? Because spelling counts. Because if you don't write it neatly, if you don't write it legibly, if you mess up those little details, when you try to combine like terms, you're going to combine it with something that's not another x to the third. You might combine it with something that's an x to the third. That's what it looks like. It looks like 3 times x to the third. You just have a 3 behind it, so it's 3 in front of it. It matters. All right. Now this next one is a lot more detailed. So I'm going to give you just a little bit of notes to write down that I will come back to later on today. I'm going to talk about the 5 different ways to move the camera. There are 5 different ways you can write the equation of a line. The first one is called standard form. Standard form. Remember, equations of lines have ordered pairs x's and y's. So some combination of x. Standard form looks like this. Something times x plus something times y equals some number c. So you might have 3x plus 2y equals 12. So A is, that capital A is 3, the capital B is a 2, and the C is a 12. Okay. You could have 5x minus 8y equals 9. So A is equal to a 5, B is a negative 8, and C is a 9. It's the equation that connects x and y together equal to some other number. You could have negative 4x plus 2y equal to 0. A is negative 4, B is positive 2, and C is equal to 0. What you're trying to figure out is what are all of the values of x and y that you could substitute into that equation that will add up to 0. That will make the equation to a 0. One of the ones that we're going to kind of work through and kind of discover, let's just do something really simple. X plus y equals 3. So this gives you. So it's trying to match up with an A times that X, and then a B times the Y equal to the C. So what's the A in front of that X? 1. When you don't have a number, when you don't see an actual like a 5x, 5 times x, this is 1 times x plus 1 times y equal to 3. 1 times x, we would just write x. 1 times y is just y equal to the 3. Times x is just x. You don't put the 1. We'll never put the 1. On a test, if you put 1 times x, you'll lose a point because 1 times x is not simplified. You know, what's my grade of class? 1 times 37%. I would 1 times 87%. Well, why are you telling me 1 times 87%? Just say 87%. So, but that just remember, there's that 1 in front. People like it, it's invisible. Well, whatever you need to do. If there was x minus y equal to 12, then the A in front of the x is a 1. What's the B in front of that 1? A negative. It's a negative. So this is 1 times x, and it's minus 1 times y equal to 12. There's a negative x in front of y. Okay. Trying to recognize things that we don't see and realize there's actually something there. So that's what standard form looks like. X and y are on the left-hand side, technically we should do. And the constant, the number, without x and y, is on the other side. But x and y are on the same side. Now, typically, no fractions when you do standard form. If there's fractions, you undo the fractions in the problem. And that's something we'll talk about in this class. Now, here's the deal. A and B cannot both be 0. One of them could be a 0, but not both of them. A might be a 0, but B can't. B could be a 0, but A can't. They can't be 0 at the same time. So this is what I'm talking about. You might have 3x equal to 12. So there's no y in that problem. There's only an x. There's only an x in that question. That's because it's 3x and it's 0 times y equal to 12. So b was a 0 and 0 times y is just 0. And 3x plus 0 is just 3x. So we would not put the 0 times y in there if it's standard form. But the reason why you can't have a and b be 0, 0x plus 0y equals 9. Well, 0 times x, that's a 0. 0 times what's that? And there's no way 0 plus 0 can equal 9. They both can equal 0, only one of them at a time. That's standard. This next one, I will not be using, but it's my job, my responsibility to make sure you at least have heard of it, you've seen it. And when you click on help or video, they will probably use it. If you go to tutoring, they like to use it. Personally, why show you 5 different methods when technically 3 are perfectly fine and enough? And I'll explain what we actually talk about 4, but 3 are technically enough. And in practice, instead of having what method do I use, when do I choose it, why do I use this one versus that one? If I show you and work through it one way and one way only, that's what I want to reinforce. It will always get you to the right answer. But I'm not going to say, well, let's use this one this time, let's use the other one another time. You're sitting there going, why are you doing it different ways? Well, first of all, because you can, but I'm not going to do that. You can explore those things as you move on, and that's your choice. But this next one is called point slope form. If you're given a point and a slope, this is what you would use. You would make substitutions, and that would be the equation of the line. It looks like this. Y minus y sub 1 is equal to m times x minus x sub 1. That's point slope form. The third one is this one. This is the one that I'm always going to use. This one I'm going to use because it transforms into what we studied in chapter section 3.6 and for the rest of the semester. It converts over easily. Plus, when we have to do our graphing, everything we need to graph is right in front of our noses, and we don't have to plug in numbers. It's all right there in the equation itself. We just got to figure out what the pieces are. Not pieces of the puzzle. When you're in standard form, the pieces are hidden. When you're in point slope form, the pieces are hidden. When you're in slope intercept form, everything you need to know is right with it. This is our happy place. Slope intercept form. Y equal to m times x plus b. So x and y are any of the points that are on the line. And we said earlier that m is our slope. And b is the y-intercept. And the y-intercept is where your line is going to cross the y-axis. I don't know what the y-axis is yet. We'll know. I said there are 5. The last 2, I'm not going to put up here yet, but I'm going to do the head. The last 2 are under the head of special cases. So the two more that are special cases. The way you handle them is you have to know what the special cases represent, and tell the difference between the two special cases. There's no work you can really show, you just need to know the difference. I hope you remember how to do that. They could be the easiest questions in the world to do. You have practice. Or until you give in and start to practice, and that's the deal. Until you give in and say, all right, I'm going to stop guessing and just practice the way that it's worded and start speaking that part of the language, then it starts to make sense. But what happens is you feel overwhelmed. You feel like maybe I'm talking gibberish up here. You can step back sometimes and just say, break for a second. Let's just walk it through one step at a time. Talk it through, and then let's see if it makes sense. Because there's no work you can really show except a picture. This is small little sketch will help you. So this one, we have a point and we have the slope. Technically, it would be 2 points so far. Because the answer has to be the slope intercept. That's what I want. That's what I'm going to want on quizzes. That's what I'm going to want on tests for the rest of the semester. What's the answer in slope intercept form? So here's how I want you to do it. First thing, what do I want? I want y equals mx plus b. Here's what I always put down and start with what I want. It's a puzzle. And when you do a puzzle, when you do a puzzle, you don't take the puzzle pieces and put them on the table and then put the box back in the closet. You put the box, the picture, on the table so you know what you're trying to make. You got to know what the final picture is supposed to look like. So the first thing you want to do, what am I supposed to make? Right to the next piece. And then you want to start fitting the pieces in as you have it. You need to figure out what M and D are. Well, the only thing you know for sure is that the slope is -5/3. That's it. That's the only piece you're given. It's like, all right, I'm looking at all the pieces. That's a piece that has blue sky, and that's a piece that has blue sky. I'm going to put the two pieces of the blue sky together. So my slope, y equals -5/3 times x. I don't know what b is. So there's still the b. That's what I have to figure out. This is not the y-intercept. It doesn't say b. I'll figure it out. We're going to figure it out. If I only have to look at, you got a y, you have an x, and you got to figure out b. If there was only some x and y that I knew about, that I had, that I could plug in here, then I could solve for b. Because solving equations, when you want to solve for something that you need a variable, what you want is one variable and everybody else to be a number, and then you just solve for that variable. Right now, you have 3 different variables. So if I could figure out what 2 of them are, I could figure out what the missing third one. So if there's only something I can plug in for x and a y. That right there, the -12, -15 is an xy. That's our ordered pair. That's what's given to you. So now we're going to plug that ordered pair in for x and y. I'm going to let x equal the negative 12 because x is and y equals the negative 15. Now we do a substitution. Well, not really. Entire last name substitution. Going in for y is negative 15 equals negative 5 over 3 times negative 12. So look, now I'm substituting negative 12. Negative 12. So negative 5 over 3 times negative 12. And then I have the plus b. You need to get over your fear of fractions. I don't know if that's easier said than done. But I very rarely, if ever, I want you to put anything in decimal. Simplify. Simplify. Look at this right here. Scouts on our Vulcans on. I promise to give you nice numbers to work. So this is what happens. When I make the substitution on your quiz next Thursday, on your test 2 Thursdays from now, this is going to happen very nicely. Negative 15 is equal to, first of all, sign. A negative times a negative is going to be a this is 5 over 3 times negative 12 over 1. 3 goes into 12 4 times. You can reduce it before you multiply it. So now you have negative 5 times negative 4, that's a positive 20 plus b. So the numbers that you're going to be working with on the quiz and on the test will make nice simplified values once you so if it didn't simplify nicely, wrong. And that's the beauty of being here in person when you're taking the test. Come on up and ask. Something's not right. You said the thing we're going to reduce nicely. You promised. Well, then I can look at what you did and say, you might want to, I will not grade it while you take it. I can't tell you what the answer is when you do it. But I might be able to say, you might want to, sometimes 2 times 3 is not 5. If you went 5 times 12, that's 60, but 60 over 3 times 1, 60 divided by 3, 20. It's still 20. Okay. To solve for b, that's a positive 20, 20 plus b. To undo 20 plus b, we subtract 20 from both sides. Negative 15 minus 20 is negative 35. So you see how it's a little more difficult to write like this. Equals minus. So there's the missing piece of my puzzle. You needed to figure out what the y-intercept was. It's a negative 35. So all I got to do now is complete the equation of my line. Y equals negative 5/3 x. And then it's going to be plus negative 35. Well, plus and negative is just going to be minus 35. The reason why I like to stick with this one method of how you write the equation of line. Is that when you do y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1. When you try to use point slope form, this would have been y minus the y sub 1 is a negative 15. So over here, y minus this is a negative 15 equals my slope, which is negative 5 over 3. Negative 5 over 3 times x minus x is a negative 12. So parentheses negative 12. And then parentheses. Then what you have to do is simplify this because the answer is supposed to be in slope intercept form. You have to solve for y and get y by itself. It's not impossible. Minus a negative, that's y plus 15 equals order of operations. Take a look. Remember this? Please excuse my dear Aunt. That's my sister. How many operations are there? Three? 4. And that's where your elementary teacher screwed you over. They really do. Parentheses first. Exponents. Then multiply and or divide in order from left to right. One operation. Then add and or subtract in order from left to right. Talk about it when we go back to break, not over here. Watch. Parentheses first. So leave the negative 5/3 out. You got to simplify what's in here. 2 consecutive negatives is now x plus 12. We still have parentheses, so what you still need to do, this is y plus 15 equals, you have to distribute the negative 5 over 3. Negative 5 over 3 times x. And that a negative times a positive is going to be a negative. And it's negative 5 over 3 times that 12. I still have y plus 15 equals negative 5 over 3 times x. Negative plus a positive is a negative. 3 goes into 12 4 times. 5 times 4, that's 20. Now you get the y by itself. You subtract 15 from those times. That's an x. You can't take 15 from an x and not return. You take 15 away from this constant. Those are like terms. So now you have y by itself. That's negative 5 over 3 times x. Negative 20 minus 15, that's my negative 5. Same answer. In all of my semesters of teaching, point slope form, I have very rarely, maybe less than a handful, maybe less than 2 handfuls, have seen students get this right using point slope form. So why teach 5 different methods when I can just focus on here's find the slope. Once you know the slope, plug in an x and a y. Well, there's an x and a y. That'll get you the equation line exactly what we want to do. And you don't have to worry about doing the distribution and all the extra substitution. And that's why I stick to one method. Again, if you want to do it this way on your exams or your quizzes, that's fine, but you better show the work. We're gonna go to break and we're gonna come on back at 38. Okay. And then we'll pull up Pearson and start working through it. Start next week on Tuesday. They did start usually on Monday, but holiday. We'll start session on Tuesday. I'm going to try to get going to your guys' canvas, of course. If you guys have any questions, you guys can figure it out. Message, and I'll try to respond within the next 1 to 2 days. Not you always come and find me at these locations. I'm taking other classes. I'm taking a class on Clovis campus. And I'm sitting on Tuesdays, Tuesdays and Thursdays. So on those days, I'm going to this year Escobar has office hours. An office hour before class, 7:30 to 8:20. I have an office hour after class from 11 to 11:50. So I'm around 50. Yeah. Well, not on Tuesday. I'll try to have the same material. I'll try to talk to Mr. back and forth. So on Monday and Tuesday, I'll get the R1B, which is the learning center. Yeah. And then the same day, so 10 to 2 before that, I'll get the STEM center. Are you available at Zoom if they email you or things like that? Yeah, so I'm going to check this Zoom going. I'm going to have flyers. I like to get to stress about it. That's up to you guys. The first week, not like, getting back to the. So that's the old one. I'll take that down. Yeah, those are the old ones, but I don't think it's something. Yeah. But I got to get to those flyers. And that's it. But all free, it's all for your guys' advantage. We have free Wi-Fi. You just need a quiet place to come and do your homework. You feel like you can't concentrate too much at your house or where you're at. Always come to these locations, and but when they're open, they'll be there to take care of you guys. I'll give you that practice and quiet you guys. You have any questions for me before I go? Okay, well, good luck this semester. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. See you guys. Yeah. Real quick. Want to kind of give you an idea. No. Just try these. quick comparison. So there's no parentheses, there's no exponents, no multiplication, no division, and then addition, subtraction. So 12 plus 6 is 18, and then minus 4. 18 minus 4 is 14. Not bad, but let's just get a little quick search. Question number 2. Anybody want to volunteer there? Now, just what did you get?
Oh, I know that.
6. Anybody else get something different? 14. 14. Number 14. Anything else different? Okay, how many people got 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and here's 7. 7 people with 6. How do you got 14? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Well, I guess 14 must be the answer because more people. That's not how. This is why. It's a simple addition subtraction, right? Shouldn't be that crazy. But this is why we need to go down and march down like a big old posse to the elementary teachers and say, add and or subtract in order from left to right. 18 minus 8 is 10. Here's what you are thinking they said, or this is what they said. Add, then subtract. There's no then. There's no then. Erase that, purge that. We need to like send you the get the test to get that out of your brain. But there's no then. And here's the reason why then messes you up. You go 8 plus 4. 18, that was 12, yeah. But that ain't an 8. It ain't an 8. It's got a minus in front of it, so it's a negative. Signs matter. So if you went negative 8 plus 4, that'd be negative 4, 18 and a negative 4. So let's look at it again. It's something I grew up with. Nobody ever uses anymore. A checkbook. $18 in your checkbook. You write an $8 check and then you deposit $4. What do you have at the end of the day? You don't go here, here and add the 8 and 4 together first. You go from left to right. You take away the $8 spent, and then you, because you know it's a deficit. It's got a minus in front. You're up, you're in Vegas, you win $18, then you lose $8, and then you win $4, so you're up $14. First and goal, 18 yards to go. Brady gets sacked. This is bad because it's got the first 10 you have to play. You have to shoot first. But you go from left to right. So we erase the word that. You just add and or subtract from left to right. Signs matter. If anything, it was this. It's 18. It's that negative is there because it was plus a negative 8. And then plus a 4. So, what's the answer on number 3? Okay, anybody else anything? Anything different than a 6? Is that 1? I'm here for 3. 3 times 4. 12 divided by 2. 12 divided by 2 is 6. Here, if you use the word then you get it right. Then might work. Might doesn't always multiply, then divide. Well, that's because multiplication is before the division, so of course it's going to work. Multiply 3 times 4 is 12. Then do the division 12 divided by 2 is 6. So what we get on number, the reason why I'm doing this is because I want you to see that there's different kinds of answers that happen. Don't be shy about saying it if you're worried about it being wrong. It's perfectly okay. You saw how much confusion there is. That's what the point I'm trying to make is the confusion that happens because the misunderstanding of the word. What kind of answers? I'm going to tell you right now. Is the answer 1 or is the answer 9? Who got 1? 1. Anybody else? 2, 3, 4. Anybody else? 1 going once. 1 going twice. 1 going once. Who got a 9? Let's just say everybody else. If you use the word then, multiply, then divide. So you seek out the multiplication. I have to multiply first. 4 times 3, that's 12. So you get 12. That happens last. 12 divided by, that's a 12. And 12, yeah, that would be a 1. It's not a then. It's never been a then. If your teacher said it was a then, there'd be a log in the middle of town. It's and or multiply and or divide in order from no such thing as division. Division doesn't even exist. There's no operation of division. Division, by definition, you multiply by a reciprocal. Division is really multiplication by the reciprocal. Flip it. Case in point, when you were told to divide fractions, 4/3 divided by 5/7. When division comes along, you must flip it. You multiply by the reciprocal. When there's division, it's 4/3 times the reciprocal. 7/5. Multiply every time. That's what division is. Multiply the reciprocal. So 4 times 7 is 28. 3 times 5 is 15. This is from left to right. 12/1 divided by 4/1 times 3. So that division is really 12/1 times 1/4. The reciprocal. It's a reciprocal. So we know what to do, and then times that 3. It's just 3 multiplication. Very proper. You don't have to do that. What you need to remember is there's no debt. And multiply and or divide from left to right. 12 divided by 4 is 3 times 3. And then 3 times 3. 12 times 1 is 12. 1 times 4 is 4 times that 3. 12 divided by 4 is 3 times 3. We can't have 2 possible answers for the same problem. That's not how math works. It's not like it's an English essay where I turn my essay into one instructor and they say, oh, this is wonderful, I give you an A. I turn it into somebody else and this is garbage, you get a C. There's an answer. Okay. And what you got to do is if you're getting stuck in problems like that, if I can see your work when you do these things on your test, I can figure out where your mistake happens. First of all, you might see your mistake and start to correct them. And you don't do it in your head, you start to correct it yourself. But then I can see your mistake and I can write in notes. Because when I grade your exam, I try to, like I'm grading you, it's just a hidden feedback. So you know what you did wrong and you get partial credit wrong. Right? That's necessary. You can see when we get all these different answers, it's important. Those are little tiny things that have always probably played you. And I don't expect that it sticks just because I showed you this right now. Now it's time to start thinking about that as you start to do it. You're still getting it wrong. Ask, what am I doing wrong? And I can point it out again and then make sure we do a couple of practice to make sure. One nice thing about the textbook and the Google textbook right now is that you can always access review stuff like this. And Ismail can help you with it, other people in the STEM might help you, I can help you with it. Because there is no class lower than this to help build the skills that you need to do this class. Oh, what I gave you back on Tuesday. Click on the website. Click on that website. Okay, first of all, you do Canvas real quick. So both class on Canvas. Here's where the class is. And as I said, this is my homepage. It's got the office hours there, the scheduled classes. And you see Monday through Thursday, I'm in here from 7:30 to 20. And on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I have a block of time from 11. From 11 to 11:50 for an office hour right after this class is over. And Friday, by request, you can do a Zoom. Just email me. Any Friday from 9 to 10. Go to the classes. What's not on there, put that on, is the link to my YouTube page where you find your playlist 103 Spring 2022, and the only one on there right now is Tuesdays. Every day I get Zoom sends me the recording, then I upload it onto YouTube. It's not taking very long. I usually will have it up probably because I have that block of time empty, probably by noon. But you can always find it in this playlist. That's what it'll always be found, so you can archive for all the archives. But what I always do is in Canvas, I am going to email the entire class the link directly to that video. So you don't have to go into the playlist and start searching for the date that you want. So you're going to get basically an email every day with at least Tuesdays and Thursdays. Canvas, did I talk about not emailing you in Canvas? Because when you get replied to that email, there's a chance that it might go to everybody. And when I need to extract your correspondence with you, I can't pull it out of the reply that's in that list of everybody. So when I want to, and I'm not trying to, no, I need to keep, I want to separate. So what is really important about, are you absent? Why are you absent? What you do? Are you going to be absent? Just letting me know little things that in fact, if it's lost in that big old list of everybody in there, it's going to be really hard. So you're going to email me, do it from a personal account, and then email me on my Outlook. Don't email, don't hit reply in the Canvas. A regular email right there, and there exactly. That will be best. What you're going to get that's from last spring. Oh, okay, I can see that. You won't see that if I go to student view. Yeah, you're not even see it. All right, never mind. But what you're going to see in the announcements this weekend or this week, I'm going to post a few things. This is where I put stuff. When I do handouts in class, if you're not in class to get it, you can always download from the announcement. I don't put it in assignments because then Canvas thinks that I'm giving you assignments that it's expecting you to read. I don't use Canvas for grading, so you're never going to see grading on Canvas. I do have different grading. But I'll put it in the announcements. I'm going to send you. Remember, I told you there's going to be a warm up for the quiz next week. I'm going to send you later on this afternoon a warm up that is a lot like next Thursday's quiz. So you get a chance to see it when you're time. Little preamble. Reword it. Hey, this is the warm up for the 3.4, 3.5 quiz. Give them a best effort. Warm up is not mandatory, just like the practice quiz, actual quiz. We're going to go over it first thing, 8:30 Tuesday. And then there'll be a couple of problems underneath it, so you can give it a try. And then we'll go over those two problems. So you get a chance to see it before we get it. But that's what it'll be. It'll be an announcement. And when I put something in the announcements, you'll get like some kind of B or whatever. Again, I'm also going to put this in. I'm going to give you, because we're going to be graphic. I don't expect you to go out and buy graphic paper. Because why should you buy graphic paper when you can now on the internet just make your own? So all I did was one semester a long time ago, I went and found a grid that I want to use in class. This is the grid, -7 to +7, -7 to +7 that I will always use. That's business for all kinds of graphing. That's every order pair you're going to need. Box will fit in that -7. You don't have to count by twos. You don't have to worry about fractions. All you have to do is count by ones and bottom graph graphs. But I printed out at least one, if not hopefully two, for everybody right now. I'm going to post that if you need to download and print out more. And you don't have to buy more, but one right now. We'll pass 4, so we go. I don't think I have enough to give everybody 2 today, but I'll put some more out for next Tuesday. So that'll be posted in the announcements today. The syllabus is posted in Canvas under syllabus. Here. Okay, the student registration handout that I'm going to go over right now. It's posted right there. So everything that I've handed out so far, except for the graphic paper, is already posted. And the quiz practice quiz. So this is what we did. You're logging in, student, registered, email address, of course, ID number, some way to pay, register now. So first thing they want is the ID number. And remember the ID number was Escadel 15194. And you can find it on the registration. There. That's 43033. Why would I? to the register over here on the right side. Make sure you're in the right place. And then May 20th, 2022. Make sure there you are. This is the only map 103 that I have. So if you've never made a Pearson account, you need to make a Pearson account. That's where you basically set up an account. And just like signing up for any other service, Netflix, whatever. But Spotify, thank you, Spotify. The music one or whatever account you would ever make, they give them the drop of blood because they want to make sure they have it. You just got to register. If you already have a Pearson account, use the same username, same password. You don't need to set up anything. Like sign in, then it's going to ask me to pay for this thing. This is what I went over on Tuesday. Access code. So that's something you might have bought online. Make sure it's the Elaine Martin Gay 7th edition Pearson code. So you might have bought something shrink wrapped in the bookstore, whatever. It's got a long little number to type in, or you can buy it from Pearson itself, 18 weeks for 100 times. Sorry, not 18. This is longer. This is for, I believe, 2 years or maybe 2 attempts at the class or 3 attempts at the class. I'm not exactly sure, but this one is only 18 weeks. So if you buy the one for $74.99, you only get to use it for 1 semester. Now, here's the deal. Right now, I don't know if we're going to offer this class again in the fall. As far as I know, this is the last time that Dara is going to offer that low. I'm not going to tell you what to buy. If you ask me what should you buy, I am not going to be put in the position of saying, I think you should buy, because I don't want somebody next semester saying, you said I should. I want money from you. I have enough people want money from you. So that's your decision to make. Okay, but it's cheaper than buying the access code definitely in the bookstore. It's not as cheap as far as I know if you're buying it online from Amazon or other places. If you just type in, they'll write textbook in addition, and it's actually simple. Okay, just make sure you get the right edition. Once you take care of all that, and like I said on, if you're waiting for a paycheck, you can get a temporary access for 2 weeks. Financial aid or paycheck, whatever. Put there, and within 3 to 14 days. After 14 days, it's going to lock you out, but then basically it's going to bug you once you want to register. Then you pay for it. When you start it up again, don't make a brand new account, just pay for the one you already started so you don't lose the work you already did. Same username, same password. Because I'm old. The 14 people are enrolled. So most of your time is going to be spent over here in assignments. And as you can see, there's 3 things highlighted there, and there's not supposed to be assignment. This. Manager. Oh, 8.1. Those are the only ones that are actually assigned. That's our chapter 3, that's 2 sections. 3, 4 through 5 is about graphing, slope, equations of lines. And 3.6 is functions, domains, and ranges. Okay. So far, any questions? Top was, we open this up, and I'm showing you how to navigate through the homework. So I open up the homework. If this box does not, the word is pop up. If it doesn't pop up when you click on that homework problem, it's because your pop-up blockers need them to be turned off, or they need to be accepted for this website. So when you click on the homework and the homework problem doesn't come up, it's because your pop-up blockers need to be adjusted. Okay. On the Macs, on the Apples, I have no idea how exactly that's going to happen. I've tried to understand the Apple. My Apple technology brain does not work real well. I don't have any experience with that. But usually it's up here in the top corner. You see that little box? If you just click on there, sometimes it will just unlock the pop-ups. If you say you want to accept pop-ups from this website, you can click on, yeah, everything's fine from this website. And you won't. Especially when I was showing you this. Settings. If I go to settings and I go to print, you're not always going to want to sit in front of the computer and do your homework. Maybe you want to print and work on it, pencil and paper, because that's how you do the tests. And you want to print the whole assignment. When I print the whole assignment, and as you can see up here, there's a little, right here in the top right-hand corner of that box, a circle with a line on it. That might mean that it's being blocked. I don't know why it's got a circle with a line on it right here, but it is not being blocked. I've had students say they try to print and it won't come up. It's because of pop-up block. Because it's another pop-up. You just have to hit allow, make sure it's not going to happen. But this is the entire assignment ready for printing. And you click on the print. And I showed you on Tuesday. This is 11 pages because it's a lot of problems. So one of the things you might consider doing is right here, pages per sheet. If you change it to a 2, then you're only going to print 6 pages. And just do the work on the paper, and then you come back and you type in your answers on the computer. Okay? And it saves you from having to sit in front of the computer. That's up to you. Plus, one of the things I have students, so they always ask, I had a problem with one of the questions on the homework. It was a problem, one of the questions that it had like a 7 in it. Well, what number was it? I don't remember what section it was. I don't remember what section, but there was a 7. Maybe it was a -7. Maybe it was a fraction that had 7. I can't remember exactly. First of all, when I pull up question number 1 up here, that's not the same question number 1. It's the same problem, but different numbers. Your question number 1 has different numbers than your number, than yours. Everybody's basically doing some version of the same find the slope. Okay? This is how they try to get by everybody cheating. Although now that apps have been invented, you can just point your phone at the problem and to the problem form. If you do that on a test, it's a 0 because I know who's cheating and who's not cheating. Unless you're not going to learn anything. So that's not the way to go. In the olden days, people could just look in the back of the book and write down the answer. Or copy somebody else's homework because everybody's doing the same exact question. Now everybody has a different problem. I show you this one. You do your problem just the same way. You just use 4 numbers. Practice your own. How many times do you attempt the problem? How long do you have this question, right? There's no time limit except homework to the day's test. So this first assignment and 3.6, everything has to be completed, whatever you have completed by the 28th. That's the deadline, sorry, 27th, that's the deadline for homework. So if you have 85% completed by the 28th, that's your grade on the homework. If you have 100, that's your grade on the homework. If you have 37, that's your grade on the homework. Okay, look. I'm just guessing right now. I'm going to guess the slope is 1 to 5. That answer incorrect. And then it tells me use the slope form. I still just want to get -2 over 3. Check my answer. Oh, try again. The slope form. I don't know what they're talking about. Use some soap. So if I need help me solve this. If I click on help me solve this, it's going to do the problem for me or with me. This exact problem. So we're going to go through the exact same question with the exact same number. It gives me the formula, and it takes me through the process one step at a time. Hit continue. Or give you an example. So doing a different question with different numbers and then applying it to the question I'm given. Now, notice when I did help me solve this, now, if you look, -810, -5,4, exact same problem. So it's going to give me the answer to that problem. As soon as I click out of help me solve it, it gives me a different question because it's not going to help you solve that problem and I just type in that answer. I have to do my own question using what they just told me to do. Now apply it to different set of effects. But if you click on show me an example, it'll walk you through a different set of numbers. Okay, and then allow me to go back to the original question because it was a different set of numbers. If that's not good enough, give more help. I can go exactly to the textbook page. So if I say click on view the textbook, this is exactly what it looks like in the textbook. The exact, basically somebody took a photocopy of the text. Now, if you scroll down, you're not changing the page. You've got to go here to the next page. For section 3.4. Oh. Last name.
Line through these 2 points to do. So first, let's find the coordinates. This point has coordinates
Okay.
-1.
But you can click on show me,
This point has coordinates.
I don't have the accent she does, but she almost keeps using the same process or same method that I do. Okay? Okay, so back to how many times do you do it? The answer is 5. Nope. Oh my God, I guessed it right. I didn't even guess it right. Okay. I don't want to go to the next one. I want to get this one. So look right here. I can go to the next question and you can go to the next question right up here. I really want to get it wrong so I can show you how many times it's right. Similar question. So let's say you want more practice because you just want more practice. Similar question. Let me try this one again. So it's still number 1. I'm just doing a simple question. -2 over -2. Oh. Okay, maybe it's -3 over 2. Try again, you can slow down. All right. Maybe it's just 5 over. Pretty good. No, and no. So that's three attempts. Now, if it's multiple choice, you get 1 shot at multiple choice. Then you have to do a different problem right here. The answer was -6. My answer was this. I said, okay. Now here's what's going to happen. Okay. Save that attempt. Right here. X. When I go to the assignment list, so I hit save. You don't ever have to worry about turning the homework in. The homework is not kept on your laptop or your device. The homework is kept at Pearson. So all you do with homework is you just hit save. If you accidentally try to close the box, you haven't saved your changes. Are you sure you want to leave? Oh no, I forgot to save. Save. So here's my list of homework questions. And question number 1 is marked wrong. So now coming back to my homework, I was at the tutoring center, I got help. Now I'm going to do problem number 1 over again. You can try number 1 as many times as it takes to get it correct. But when you do a problem itself, you get 3 chances at that one question. But you can always go in and ask for a new question if you haven't got it right and start over. So now I'm going to ask a similar question. I'll fix it. Let me just see if I can do this in my head. Okay, so that's going to be box right here. 1. And I got it right. So now I can move on to the next question. I want to see how things have changed. I hit save. And what was marked with an X is wrong is now a green check, which is now right. So when you work on your homework, every problem that's been done correctly will have green checks, and the ones you need to fix them. Red X's, and the ones you haven't done won't have anything. Any questions? That's how the homework. Anybody, if you're having trouble getting logged in, the longer you wait, the more work you set yourself up for having to stress about later. Try it. If you haven't gotten into it this weekend, by this weekend, little bit of a mess. At least do the 14-day. So that makes sure you're on task for the test. Let's actually get some, I know that time is running. Let's actually we got quite a bit of notes up here. This was a good piece of 3.4, 2.5. Right. Slope. Slope in algebra is always represented by the variable m. In the equations of lines, we use the variable m to represent slope. Slope is a rate of change, and your entire life is basically built upon studying, understanding, dealing with rates of change. When you get a ticket, it's because the rate of change of your distance over time is greater than the rate of change you're allowed to drive on the freeway. When your distance divided by time, distance over time, that's a slope. When I was at UCLA, I was so proud of myself because I made it from my apartment one time to my house in 2 hours and 59 minutes. I broke the 3-hour barrier. I was amazed. They were usually like 4 hours. I made it 2 hours, 59 minutes. Then I met my wife. One night we were going to visit my brother in Burbank. She made it from our house to his house, 200 miles, 2.5 hours. We're going 2.5 hours. No, we did not have a plan. Rate of change. Miles per hour is a slope. 200 miles over time, 2.5 hours. Now let's decide what this actually is. This is 200. Now let's understand, let's get something clear. Your days of working with decimals, more little decimals we know. Mixed numbers. We're going to be multiplying and dividing fractions. So if you're going to multiply and divide fractions, you're going to want to have improper fractions so you can do them correctly. So you're going to want to not use mixed numbers. You want to have improper fractions. So to change this to an improper fraction, you multiply 2 times 2, and then you add the 1, and you divide, it's still over 2. 2.5 is the same as 2 times 2 is 4. 4 plus 1 plus 5 over 2 hours. Think about it. What's 5 divided by 2? It's 2.5. 5 over 2. So this means right here, 200 over 5 over 2. This is 200 divided by 5 over 2. Because the 5 over 2 is in the denominator. What did you just do? Right after break, when you divide, you multiply by the reciprocal. So the reciprocal, the flip of 5 over 2 is 2 over 5. So this is 200 over 1 times 2 over 5. 200 times 2 is 400. 1 times 5 is 5. 400 divided by 5 is 2. Bottom line is this. 200 miles divided by 2.5 hours, divided by 2.5 hours. 2.5 goes into 280 hours. If you take a calculator and go 200 and divide by 2.5, you're going to get E. Oh, why did you just say? Because this is going to happen in class. 80, the numerator was miles, and the denominator is hours. Her average rate of speed from here to Burbank was 80 miles per hour. That's how fast she traveled. Who hasn't driven on the freeway at 80 miles per hour? And if you say you haven't, you're lying. But understand, that's the average speed. For the entire trip, that means she would have had to be going 80 miles an hour for the entire trip. Backing out of the driveway, 80 miles an hour, going to the neighborhood, 80 miles an hour, at a stop sign, 80 miles an hour, going through Starbucks, 80 miles an hour. For the entire 2.5 hours, she had to be 80 miles an hour, or part of the trip, she's over 80, part of the trip, she's under 80. The average is 80. And that's what slope is. It's a fraction, it's a ratio of the numerator over the denominator. And that's how, when you hear about, speed monitored by airplanes, by aircraft, they're not going to come in and zoom in over you and try to match up your speed and figure out how fast you're going. There's a marker on the road. Maybe it's an intersection and an intersection, and all they need is a stopwatch. They know the distance between those two intersections, and they just figure out how long it takes you to get from one marker to another one. They know the distance, they know how long it took you to get there. They know your average speed. Average speed is greater than your speed. Now, they can't pull you over in the plane, but that's where they raise you down and they tell it top. So there's a mark. This yellow, red, blue, red. That's how a speed gun works, a radar gun. But it happens a lot quicker because the radar wave travels at speed light. But it's all about slow. Slope is a ratio of the rise of a line divided by the run of a line. Rise of a run. The rise is up and down. The run is left and right. The rise is the y coordinate. The run across is your x coordinate. I don't like making assumptions. This is why I always end up having to change dates, because I get caught up in a little bit of not everybody is on the same page of what you remember from the class. I don't like making assumptions that everybody knows what an XY axis is, what a Cartesian coordinate system actually is. So to make sure that I have at least some kind of connection, I want to show this to you. I'm going to show you the formula so you can get started on some of this. Some of the homework you can do with what I showed you in the warm-up. as we did our warm-up the other day, we subtract the y coordinate, rise over run. Rise is the y, so 1 is your x's. So 2 minus x of 1. So in this problem, that's a y coordinate, so negative 10. And then you subtract the first y, which is a positive 1, so minus 1, over, you subtract the x's. That x is an 8, minus the other x, which is also an 8. Negative 10 minus 1 is negative 11. 8 minus 8 is 0. And I talked about this on Tuesday. When 0 is in the denominator, what do you put? If you look at the choices, it's multiple choice. The slope is, we get an answer, or you click on undefined. It's not 0. It's, when you get 0, it's because you have 0 over a number. That's a 0. But in the denominator, you can't divide by 0. Okay. Let me take roll, and you guys get out of here. Make sure you get logged into Pearson, and I will be posting the practice quiz or the warm-up, and I'll be posting the draft paper. All right. If I don't call your name, make sure you tweet for an ad. Okay. Remember, I'm going to push some names. Sarah, how you there? Alan Calderon. Vanessa Maria. Vanessa. Okay, Kyle Diori here. Larissa Escobar. Anna Felix Zazuta. Diego Fuentes Hernandez. Carlina Gadilla. Carlina. Leilani Gallegos Santiago. Mariana Gonzalez Cortez. Alyssa Gutierrez. Julia Fernandez. Miguel Juarez Gil. Juliana Martinez. Tony Molina. Skylar Rivera. Elizabeth Ramirez Vasquez. Leonard Sandoval. Monica Simmons. Monica and Francisco Velarde. All right, if I haven't called your name, let's see you for some ad numbers and have a great weekend. Okay. Okay. I can always go in and deactivate whichever one you're not using, so it doesn't come up in my grading card where I go to look at your homework. Okay. Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Perfect. Oh, right here. Oh, here. So when you divide, you multiply by the reciprocal. That's it. So when you divide by a fraction, you multiply by the reciprocal. So that becomes multiplication, and then you get the reciprocal of 5 over 2. So now when you multiply fractions, it's numerator straight up. Numerator times numerator. Denominator times denominator. Because those are both at the top. And those are both at the top. Okay. So whenever you divide by a fraction, you flip the second and multiply. So numerator multiply, denominator multiply. No, this is face to face. The homework is just on. All the homework is on Pearson. That's how you turn it in. That's how you turn it in. Test everything in here. Can you return the textbook? Yeah. So you don't have to have a physical textbook because when you have access online, there's an electronic copy. Yeah, because that's money.